Do 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 do. And that's not working. Great. Wow. Tried to do a nice little animated intro there, and apparently it decided it didn't want to work. But whatever. Hey guys, welcome back to another live stream here, Nerd News Desk from Pop Culture Network at thepopc.net, because it kind of sucks having to type out popculturenetwork.com every time. I get it. So just go to thepopc.net. But the reason why we're going to be here is because we are going to be talking about comic book sales. I saw that, oh man, another thing, it stopped working. Well, that's great. I'm glad these scenes are not working. That's real handy that everything broke as soon as I went to go live. Thanks, Obama. All right, let's see if we can fix this. Yeah, we wanted a screen share application window. Can we do this? Is that working? Can you see anything here? Hopefully we can get something. Switch back. I'm here. Okay. Now switch back. Will it? There we go. Finally. All right. So, Previews World, this is run by Diamond Comics Distribution. They're the people that actually send the comic books out to comic book shops. And so they put out their list of the top 100 selling best comics for July. And Comicron, though, Comicron believes that Diamond doesn't always do it the best way. So they have out their new list of top sales. And you'll see that things are a little different depending on how you sort through this information. But some of the stuff that we can see here, House of X and Powers of 10, number 1, those are the top books. Just no way around it. Those are the top books. Those are the books that people are picking up. So, yeah, pretty important to comic book sales right now. Then we can see on this list, they say Amazing Spider-Man 25, Walking Dead 193, Batman Last Night on Earth, number 2, Curse of the White Knight, number 1, Batman Who Laughs 7, Black Cat, number 2, which that's kind of surprising, Immortal Hulk 20, and Batman 74. Now, the funny thing is, you might be thinking to yourself, hey, I thought Batman 75 came out, and that was kind of a big deal. Shouldn't that one have made it to the list? Well, this is why we get into Comicron versus Previews World and Diamond, because if you look down here, here's Batman 75. And you think, oh, okay, well, it was close, but that's weird. The Batman 74 sold so much better. Except it didn't, because if you keep scrolling down, somewhere along here, you're going to find, well, where to go? Okay, so I missed it. Went right past it. Somewhere down here, you're going to find the other Batman 75 entry. Where the heck did it go? Okay, so I'm just dumb. Where'd it go? Batman 75. There's one. There it is, number 74. There was a card stock variant edition for $1 more expensive. So that extra $1 means that they have to treat it like it's a different book. So you know there's always variants when it comes to buying comics. You always have these different covers. Most DC books nowadays with the variants, you have like a regular cover and then you have a B cover. And they're free to order as many as you want. And some stores do a little more with one or the other. Most of them think of it as like a shelf version and a sub variant, whatever. And then you get like the 10-in-1, the 25-in-1, the 50-in-1, 100-in-1, whatever those variants may be. But all of those count as the same book because they all technically fall into the same price code. Whereas these Year of the Villain books that have these alternate covers, they're $1 more expensive. So Diamond actually considers them as being a separate book because of the price difference. So Comicron actually fixes that by combining those books together that have those different covers. So if we flip over to Comicron, we can see that their top books here, based on units sold, it's still X-Men. Your X-Men books are 1 and 2, but then Deceased actually comes in at number 3. Amazing Spider-Man number 4, and then Walking Dead as number 5. Now, you can see there's an asterisk here next for deceased because it includes both versions. But this one here for Walking Dead, reduced for returnability, actual number is higher. Now, Image makes some of their comics returnable. The idea is they want to make it easier for store owners to order more copies. So if they order over a certain amount, then they can return unsold copies like 90 days later or 60 days later or something like that. So it's kind of like a order more copies, but you're not at risk because if they don't sell, you can send them back. So Walking Dead fell underneath that umbrella because you never know with the way the TV show goes, season premiere, season finale, something big happens on the show, then sales may spike as people pick up the comics. But then, sometimes they just kind of fall off, especially in the summertime. There's no new show. It kind of dies out. It can depend on the trade paperbacks and their release schedule, things like that. So being that it's returnable, they drop the number a little bit because they look at the average percentage of books that get returned and they take that number out. But I think it's probably a safe bet nobody was returning copies of the final issue of The Walking Dead. I mean, maybe they did, but I've got a feeling they didn't. So, all right. We can see as far as that goes with numbers, these numbers are terrible. Just generally speaking, 100,000 copies. 20 years ago, this would have been a book canceled from a major publisher. In the mid 80s, this was a book canceled like immediately with numbers that low. Here in 2019, that's considered a good seller. Now, the other thing is you can look at by dollar amount, and by dollar amount, Deceased drops off. But Last Night on Earth pops back on the list, and that's because these books all had a higher cover price. So if we scroll down here a little bit more, we can see House of X1 was a $5.99, Powers of 10 won $5.99. Amazing Spider-Man was a $7.99 book. So as far as units, not a lot of units, but as far as dollar share, it's a lot bigger. Last Night on Earth is a $5.99. Walking Dead is a $3.99. So you don't have to sell as many of these to make the same amount of money as that. But that's what happens with some of these books. So we have one Image book. We've got dominant Marvel up here. We've got pretty good DC here. And then they're kind of splitting the difference down as we get to the bottom of the list. And it's... Okay, so here's the thing. This one thing that Comicron does, and this is one reason why I really like going to the site, is because they break down a lot of the numbers. They look at stuff beyond just what sold, what didn't, how much money did it make, but it also looks at compared to last month, compared to this month last year, compared to the overall for this year, compared to the overall for last year. And looking at some of those numbers tells you a completely different story about the comic book marketplace, because you can see here, if you're looking at July 2019 versus June 2019, hey, it went up, right? Look at the percentage points. It went up. That's pretty good, except that July was a 5-week month for comics. So that means instead of the standard 4 weeks of selling comics, there is a 5th week. 4 and 5. Wow, I'm good at math. How about 4 and 5? Okay, that's why they break down the numbers and I don't. I just read them. So when we look at some of these numbers, it's like, yeah, they sold more comics this month compared to last month. Great, except there was an extra week to sell more comics. The amount of comics, they went up 15% in dollars, 12% in units. Now, the 15% in dollars, that's because we had some high dollar books. So the problem is this is going to teach them to just make comics more expensive. So all of you guys out there, when you walk into the comic book store and you see that it's $5.99 or $7.99 and you're like, ugh, why do I have to pay that much? Well, guess what? You're going to start paying that price a whole lot more, because that's what publishers are finding when they do books that have a higher dollar amount. We still buy them because they're crack and we're addicted. And so we get these comics no matter what they actually cost. When we look at July 2019 versus July 2018, again, it's up, but it's a 5-week versus 4-week up, which means dollars are higher. But if you look at units for comics, the units have actually gone down. They're selling less comics this year, but the dollar amount's up because they're more expensive. And then year to date, you can see again, year to date this year versus last year, it's a little bit more money, but a lot less units sold. So what does this mean really overall? If you look at these every month, you can go back every month and look and see what's selling and what isn't selling, what's in the top 100, what's fallen out. You're really going to see how bad the comic market has gotten, is, whatever, is or isn't, doesn't matter. It's terrible. Comics are really in a decline right now. The industry is dying. And I'll try not to harp too much on this, because if we look at these month to month, you're going to see a lot of the same stuff repeating over and over and over as you go through the year. But the key thing to remember is that it's not a healthy market. Things are going down, and they're going down pretty badly overall. Let's see. I was wondering if they had the higher list. Okay, they don't have the higher list of numbers. So one of the things that they just have like the top books here because they don't get the full numbers of all the books until later. And so they will post them later down the road. But you can look here by publisher. Marvel shipped 105 new comics, DC 86. So Marvel is shipping, no, wait, these are offered and shipped. Here's shipped, 150, 110. So a lot more there. The number of books just, go down from company to company. Dynamite is selling less than Viz. Archie, down pretty low. Oni, I'm surprised they even make the list. And then the other non-top 10. There's not a lot of product being sent out. And it does, look kind of scary sometimes looking at the industry and all of this stuff. Now, if we go back to Diamond's here, Diamond, they actually have a list of 100, but they don't put any of the numbers here. So the numbers have to be filled in later. I don't know where Comichron gets all their numbers. I think they come from Diamond later on, but Diamond releases this as like a quick, here's the top 100 that they've gone through that they found. And you can see things like Justice League down here at 22, Immortal Hulk, Loki #1. They sent out free copies of Loki #1 to boost the numbers, and they boosted it up to 25th place. They basically doubled your orders. So if you ordered 6, you got 12. So it sold twice as many copies as it should have because of that double shipping, the free shipping of those books. History of the Marvel Universe, that's another one that they push to get more copies out there. Valkyrie Jane Foster, another one they sent out some extra copies of. So you can see that they're really kind of pushing up some of those books that would have fallen down a lot more. Now, when we go down to the bottom of the list here, down the last 100, you can see like an annual. A lot of people don't buy annuals. Conan has really dropped off. Something here like Catwoman. Catwoman's dropped off, but again, this is a variant, and they have the book split, so it's not too bad. But Cosmic Ghost Rider is just not doing a lot of traction, considering how popular the character was, a long time ago. I got to admit, I'm not even reading that one because it's not a Donny Cates, so I'm not really excited for it. Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider is another one that's low. Young Justice, very low. So you can see a lot of these books. Miles Morales was one of the top books a couple years ago. Now, way down. Flash, though, again, 2 covers, so that could explain some of the difference on that. So a lot of these books, they're expected to do so much better. You hear so much about some of these titles and how good they are and how popular they are, how popular the character is, and yet they're just really way down on the list. They don't do well at all. This Batman universe, this is the reprints of the stuff from the Walmart exclusive books. And again, it's a $4.99, so cost a little extra there. So just kind of overall, taking a look at the industry, you can look through these tables. Comichron is a great resource to look at comics, to look at sales, look how good the industry is doing, what the health of the industry is. But unfortunately right now, industry's not that healthy. That's going to do it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.